This is Autoblog. For over 15 years, our team has covered the auto industry. You can find more of our content at autoblog.com. But here on the Autoblog Show, each episode features our favorite videos of the hottest new cars from all over the world. This is what moves us. We're drivers, off-roaders, journalists, tech geeks, gamers, filmmakers, and adventurers. This is Autoblog. You're watching the Autoblog Show. Up next, a journey to Japan. Join us as we explore Japan's transportation past, present, and future.
Going to Japan, we were sort of hoping to get a better sense of what the automakers were doing with automated driving and electromobility.
So in 1964, Japan held the Summer Olympics in Tokyo, and World War II had ended less than 20 years before that. And to kind of showcase how far they had come technologically, Japan unveiled at the same time as they had the Olympics the Shinkansen, the bullet train. In 2020, Tokyo is again hosting the Summer Olympics, and to show how far they've come since then, there's a huge push for autonomous cars.
We got the chance to try out some technology, some stuff that's not available in the US. First we talked to Subaru, and we didn't really talk all that much. They ran us through EyeSight with Touring Assist and threw us the keys to a WRX.
It's a rainy day here in Tokyo, but we're going to take this out on the highway and see how the system works in less than perfect conditions. So we're on the highway right now and we're in a traffic jam, and this is actually a perfect time to use this system. What's interesting about Touring Assist and Subaru EyeSight is that it relies on these cameras, while a lot of other systems rely on radar and ultrasonic sensors, sometimes in tandem with cameras. But basically it's a different sensor suite that does the exact same practical purpose. This is the first time I've driven any WRX with an automatic transmission, which is kind of cool, or steering wheel on the right side of the car, for that matter. I can feel this switch starting to turn in my brain on flipping right and left.
Nissan had something similar as well, called ProPilot, which we actually do have in the US on a very limited basis. Over there we drove the Nissan Leaf, which is the all-electric vehicle.
We had hoped to go for a ride in one of their autonomous Nissan Leaf prototypes. They're doing autonomous taxis right there from the headquarters called Easy Ride as a trial project. They said we couldn't get in one of those, that it was booked up. Don't know what their motivations were, but it was a little weird. We did get a really nice day driving the Nissan Leaf around. It was a nice, early, full drive, so I was really happy to get to spend some quality time with the Leaf.
The car we're in right now has 151 miles of range from a 40 kilowatt hour battery. Coming in the future will be the E Plus battery. That will offer probably about 225 miles of range. We're not exactly sure on the details yet. now. I think this car looks very nice. I can actually call this one the Leaf. The last one looked more like a loaf of bread. This one, especially with the floating roof design that's very popular right now, it's very in. I don't know how long that's going to seem fresh, but right now it still looks cool. And the car we're in has a two-tone. It's got the yellow body color with black roof, and I think it looks pretty spiffy.
Honda, we stepped away from the autonomous topic a bit and went to the Honda Museum at Motegi, which is arguably one of the best car museums in the world.
So day 3, we got up super early. Honda picked us up at our hotel and drove us out of Tokyo, through the countryside, and sort of into the mountains to Twin Ring Motegi, where they have a couple race circuits, and that's also where their Honda collection hall is.
So this is a special exhibition just held for this month, so you guys are lucky to be here on this occasion, and this is Soichiro Honda's life.
The tour started off with a temporary installation about the life of Soichiro Honda, which was really interesting. It went through powering bikes with gas motors, to having a factory, to World War II, and talking about how racing sort of drove Honda's development.
Soichiro Honda was an elementary school graduate. He does not have an academic degree, but he was so maniac about, he was so obsessed with cars and anything driven by engines. So after the graduation of elementary school, he started working at an automotive workshop, and he became the president of that branch. The guy with the sunglasses is a Soichiro Honda, young Soichiro Honda. This car is actually a one-off racing car made by Soichiro Honda himself. So after the World War II, Japan, the whole land in Japan was totally devastated. He got on this idea to combine a very small military surplus engine. Actually, this small engine was used for US military as a generator for transceivers. So he bought several of them and started putting on bicycles with utilizing, this is called yutampo in Japanese. This is actually where you keep hot water and take it into futon bed, so that throughout the whole night your bed is kept warm. So he converted this water tank into fuel tank for this bicycle engine.
Then we walked around the rest of the hall, several floors, and just saw tons, hundreds of beautiful historic motorcycles and cars. It was amazing. Just these pristine old vehicles throughout history.
So this is a Type A, one of the very first Honda's product, utilizing the small engine attached on a bicycle frame. And this one is a Type C. This one, Honda started manufacturing the frames on its own. But later, this is called Cub F-Type. To lower the center of the gravity, Soichiro Honda installed the tiny engine in a very low position and installed this impressive white tank on the rear side. So Honda was pretty good in producing a smaller motorcycle like those you have seen. But American Honda, which was expanding its business in the United States, requested Japan R&D Center, give us larger bikes, bigger bikes. We would like to compete against British bikes and Italian bikes. But it was difficult to understand the necessity for the Japanese engineers because of the physical difference. Mm-hmm. These bikes are too big for the Japanese engineer around that time. And this is the CB754, the first mass-produced large bike with 4 cylinders. And it is a fast mass-produced bike with disc brakes, which around that time still was an aviation technology. This is the famous Civic with CVCC engine. This became a big hit even in the States, not only in Japan, but in the States too. The car was launched in 1973, and there became the first and second oil shock. Even Americans were not happy with maintaining gas guzzlers, and actually many Cadillac dealerships wanted to sell this car as a second franchise.
Now the Civic name, does that come from the CVCC?
No, Civic name was first.
First? Okay.
Yes. This car was to make a new basic standard for every citizens in the world. So the name was given, the Civic name was given to this car. Around the same era, Honda launched supercar NSX. And NSX later had a very enthusiastic derivative called NSX-R. That was the beginning of the Type R history. Later, Type R name was inherited to the Integra and then to Civic. So all these cars have championship white color, which has an origin of the very fast Formula One car. As I said, Soichiro Honda wanted to paint it in gold, but South Africa had the right to paint Formula One cars in gold, so we painted it in ivory after Japanese flag with the red circle on ivory. This is a Formula One RA271, which we took to Formula One racing for the first time. In 1964, we took this machine to 3 Formula One GPs, and out of which we retired every race. So, and the same year, 1964, is the period we started producing S500 and T360 trucks. So people's perception throughout the world, even in Japan, is that Honda is a motorcycle manufacturer. Why are you coming to Formula One? Because we wanted to challenge. So this is the second era of the Honda Formula One racing. Started with the Spirit Honda and Williams and Lotus and famous McLaren Honda.
Then we come around a corner and we see an F1 car in red and white livery. And I immediately got goosebumps. And as we walked closer, I could make out the letters SENNA, and got to stand right there in front of the car, arguably the greatest racer of all time.
This is MP44 winning machine that Ayrton Senna drove at the time when he won the 15 races out of 16. And we won 69 victories in more or less 10 years of the Formula One racing.
So yeah, if you are an automotive history fan, I think the Honda Collection Hall at Motegi is a pilgrimage to be made, and it's an absolute must if you're a Honda fan. It was just fantastic.
All right, Chris, what happened?
John lost his ticket because he's irresponsible, but he has a great beard. He's about to win our March Madness tournament, so it's okay. All right, so we are currently in Kyoto, Japan. We came here from Tokyo, and the easiest way to get from Tokyo to Kyoto is by taking the bullet train. It's called the Shinkansen, and we took it from Shinagawa Station to Kyoto Station, where we're standing right now. Now we're gonna head back to Tokyo this afternoon. The easiest way to get a ticket for the Shinkansen, if you know what you're doing, is to just go to the machine and buy one. Now, if you're watching this video, you probably don't know what you're doing. And so they have a booth where you can actually talk to a human being and kind of figure out what you're doing. And so what we did is we got a reserved ticket. So that means that your seats are reserved. You don't have to go on and find one when you get one. You have a specific seat on a specific car. All right, so you can see that we're 372. We leave at 1502. So you just look up here, 372, 1502, leaves from platform 12. And then we're on car 13. So you just line up where it says car 13, and then once the train comes in, you'll be able to get to your seat pretty quickly. So as far as luggage, I brought one carry-on and a backpack. There isn't really a limit as to how much luggage you can bring on, but it all has to fit. And so what they have is kind of like on an airplane where you can put stuff overhead, only it doesn't close. So you just kind of have to lift it up and set it there. So if you brought like 5 bags, probably won't fit. I would recommend not bringing more than a backpack this size and a carry-on. The ride between Kyoto Station and Shinagawa is roughly 2 hours, 2 hours and 10 minutes. It was super smooth. We got up to speeds around 160, 170 miles per hour. There are restrooms on the train. There's a place to throw away any garbage you have, and a couple times there is someone who comes up and down that'll sell beverages and small snack items. But if you leave on an empty stomach, you do have 2 hours before you're in town. So I would recommend maybe eating at a train station or bringing your own food onto the train.
What'd you guys get?
A bunch of sandwiches and some craft beer.
Ooh, that's pretty good. Some Pocari Sweat.
Ion water.
All right.
Most train stations in Japan are cash only, which is kind of a pain. You have to go to 7-Elevens here, have ATMs, and that's pretty much it. So take out your cash when you're near 7-Eleven, use that for the train. As far as the Shinkansen tickets, they're a bit more expensive. This one costs about $150. You can use a credit card for that. You can also buy your ticket a day in advance, which is what we did. We got to Kyoto and we decided, hey, we're already at the train station, let's buy our ticket for tomorrow. So we got right in line, there wasn't really a line, and we bought our ticket for today. And that's probably a better way to do it. That way you're not rushing to the train station to buy your ticket and then get on the train. That being said, we probably would have changed our time if we could. So if you don't know really what you're going to be doing in the city, maybe wait. We got a ticket for 3 p.m. and once we got into Kyoto and saw all the cool things that are around here, kind of wish we had bought a ticket for a little bit later.
Not sitting next to the window, but we're going to be, 2 of us are going to be on the ocean side and one of us is going to be on the mountain side. So
Mount Fuji side.
So either way, it sounds like it's a scenic ride to Kyoto, so I'm looking forward to it.
It's gonna be fast. It takes like 2 hours to go 250 miles.
What's the average, 125 miles an hour then?
You're great at math there, John.
I like going fast.
John, you like going fast?
I like trains.
It was about a 2-hour train ride going, I think we hit a top speed of like 160-ish miles per hour. And it's smooth. You can walk around the train. You can get food on the train. You can take a nap on the train. You can see Mount Fuji on the train. It was an incredible experience.
Tokyo is a crowded metropolis. It's anything you could want to do or buy or see, they have it there. Kyoto is a lot different. Kyoto feels more ancient, more historical, and walking around Kyoto, there's temples and shrines everywhere, and beautiful architecture and a ton of history. The temples and shrines in Kyoto are really humbling. We went to one dedicated to god Inari, the god of rice. This was like a whole mountain with lots of different structures and sub-shrines and artwork. And this place has all these gates. They're painted orange, they're called torii. And they're gates that sort of symbolize stepping into a sacred place from the regular world. If I were going back to Japan, that would be the place where I'd spend the most time. I love Japan. It's a really neat place. It's very busy, it's very structured.
So we only had a week in Japan, and so we kind of just went, and had a lot of long days. But there's just so much to see that I could get sleep back when I'm back at home. So we just kind of went until we crashed each night, and then woke up early and started all over again.
The thing is, the people in Japan are so accommodating and polite. It makes this place that would be really difficult to get around and understand. It makes it super easy and super fun. Okay. Well, I have now spent a good amount of time in both the Nissan Leaf and
Thanks for watching, and we hope you enjoyed this episode of the Autoblog Show. For a lot more of our content, check us out at autoblog.com, where you can find the latest reviews and news on all of your favorite cars.